right. Hey, everybody. Zach Derby here, founder and CEO of Only Sports. And joining us today is Destin Howard of the Georgia Bulldogs softball team. Welcome to the Only Sports pod, Destin.
Thank you.
Yeah. I guess to start off, you're a freshman at Georgia and kind of want to walk us through how your year's been going so far.
Okay. It's been going really, really good. The fall was a big transition, just kind of get into the groove of being a college athlete, but also knowing you're here for softball, but most importantly, like you're here for your education. So getting in the swing of that was it was pretty tough, but the challenge was good. I've actually learned a lot about myself being in college, like with the transition. It's made me a lot tougher mentally. But the fall and spring have just been outstanding in the classroom and on the field. Absolutely love the team. But all in all, it's been a different shift in life, but it's been really great.
Yeah, definitely. I know from personal experience, the grind of a student athlete is definitely time consuming.
Yeah.
So I guess what what do you? I know you get a little bit of free time here now and then. What do you enjoy doing in your free time?
I like going on walks. I actually didn't really walk until I got to Georgia. I noticed that it helped me kind of clear my head and not to focus on anything that was going on around me. So, walks was a really big thing, especially in the spring now that I have a lot of downtime. In the fall, I really couldn't get to it because of, we were just go, go, go pretty much and still trying to figure out like what I'm doing. But going on walks, I like to shop a lot. Retail therapy, that's another thing. And also just hanging out with my teammates.
Yeah, definitely. So when you do go on a walk, do you listen to music, listen to podcasts, or just it or no headphones and just enjoying the nature?
Sometimes I'll actually call my dad. I actually called him for 40 minutes the other day when I was on my 3 mile walk. So I'll talk to him for a good bit. And if I'm not talking to him, I'll listen to Maverick City. They're my favorite gospel group. So kind of have that time between like me and worshiping.
Awesome. What kind of stuff, if you don't mind sharing, what kind of stuff do you and your dad talk about? Is it just personal or, just anything that you're willing to share?
Yeah, so my dad is actually, he's not the typical like softball parent. He's really not going to bring it up unless I bring it up, and I really appreciate that because I'm not trying to revolve my life around softball. I just want it to be like a little piece of my life. So, like this week, we pretty much just talked about how practice was going because, I kind of want to let him know like how I'm doing. We talked about that. A big thing we actually talked about was me getting into more of a competitor mindset after practice one day, I just realized I wasn't competing as much as I needed to. So he kind of helped me find a different gear to get into and actually helped me for practice today. But he's kind of just like, he's my therapist and like my little cheerleader. So he was just helping me out mentally to get prepared like for today's practice. And he'll pretty much ask me like, how am I doing regardless of what's going on with softball or everything else. But he just really checks up on me.
That's great to have a support system like that.
Yeah.
I guess what has been kind of your biggest surprise other than the time commitment, getting into college sports and what's your biggest surprise so far?
I think the intensity of the game. I've always been like a kind of nervous player. I'm usually nervous like the first two innings, but it kind of just rolls off of me. It's just how I've like always just like grown up. But being in college, just knowing like you're literally facing the best of the best. At first, it was a little nerve wracking because you got fans. The fans are crazy here, but it's so much fun. But the games are just really, really intense, and having to control your nerves is something that I've never really had to battle with almost because I've never played such intense softball like this. So the intensity has been like the biggest shock to me, but it's honestly so fun.
Yeah, they always say if you're not nervous, that means you don't care. So
Yeah.
that's a good thing. Um, it looks like you got a couple upperclassmen pitchers that kind of are the kind of the top pitchers on the team, and you're kind of right there behind them. What have you learned so far from the upperclassmen on the team?
I've learned they know how to compete in their different ways. So our two main pitchers right now, Shelby and Maddie. Shelby, she's a dog. Like when she pitches, she goes all out. Like it's amazing to watch her and Maddie pitch. But kind of what I've taken from Shelby is like you have to be a dog at all times, no matter if somebody's hitting off of you, if you're having a good day or bad day, like you can't turn the switch on and off. So I've really enjoyed watching her and like she keeps her composure so well. And Maddie does a really good job of keeping her composure as well. Just from the both of them, I've learned like even when adversity hits you, you have to find a way to be able to battle through it. And what I really like about Maddie is that she keeps a straight face the entire game. She's not a like Shelby's like a let's go, like Maddie's not like that. And I see myself in Maddie because I don't show a lot of emotion when I pitch. And so watching her mannerisms has showed me like literally like it's okay to not show a whole bunch of emotion because at first I was kind of timid because I'm not like some of the pictures you see nowadays, but she's made me more comfortable in like my identity as a pitcher. So just from the both of them, like I've just really learned more how to compete, how to face adversity, know how to handle it, and just be a good pitcher.
Yeah, that's awesome. Um, how's the transition been from, because like, I mean, everybody at this level was outstanding in high school, but probably the best player on their team, and then now coming into a situation where you have to, compete for every opportunity to get out there on the mound.
You had to be realistic with yourself. You can't, in my opinion, go into college as a freshman like thinking you're going to start. I mean, if you're that good, then you're that good. But I think my biggest thing was knowing like I'm coming to a team full of dogs, like literally. Like I have to fit in with them. I have to compete for a spot. But it's to the point where like, yes, I'm competing, but it's so good to see people that are in your position and other positions do well because you're able to learn from them. So the biggest thing was literally just being real with myself like yeah, go compete, go work your behind off, but just because you're not in the position that they're in doesn't mean that you're any less as good as they are.
Yeah, it's a 4-year journey, and
Hmm.
you'll get your time is right around the corner.
Yeah, that's the
Um,
biggest thing. Remembering that's the journey.
yeah, definitely. So at what age did you know kind of softball was going to be your sport?
I really want to say when I was 8. That's kind of when it like clicked for me almost. And I was always just like the tallest kid out there hitting home runs at 8 years old. Like nobody was doing that. And I just had so much fun. So I just knew it was something I wanted to continue to do.
Awesome. So kind of going up through high school, you had a lot of success. You guys won a state championship, right?
Mhm.
So walk us through how awesome that was winning the state championship in Georgia.
It's funny, I was actually just watching some videos of me pitch this morning, and that was one of them. It's kind of surreal, and it still is because we were not projected to win the state championship that year. We honestly went into it like we're gonna lose first round, like not even make it to the second round. So that was everybody's mindset. But to really kind of shock ourselves and the community was it was really, really cool. And the experience was amazing, just having everybody rally behind you. I had actually pitched every game of that tournament, I think, including the championship game. It may have been 4 or 5, like complete 7 inning games. And so like I was dog tired. I cried before the championship game because I was in pain. Like I had never felt that way before. I was in pain, but I just prayed. I was like, I got to do this for my team. So, but it was amazing. Like it was one of those experiences that I'll truly never forget.
Yeah, that's awesome. So would you say that, I know humbly you might want to, but would you say that kind of your pitching was kind of led you guys to the championship, or
Looking at it from a statistics wise, I would say so because even with me hitting, our offense wasn't like really as good. We kind of just like had our days. We like to make people nervous a little bit. Like sometimes we're not gonna hit until the sixth inning, but I would say definitely my pitching and our defense kind of carried us to the championship. And
yeah,
then we kind of just we turned on our bats when it was time. That was
that's
it.
all that matters.
Hmm.
In so many sports, it just matters getting hot at the right time, and
Yep.
that's awesome. So I don't know if it's a little known fact or not, but I saw that you deadlifted 425 in high school.
Yeah.
So I guess you want to walk through that, and uh, that's an amazing feat for a high school athlete. And then how's your progression been now that you're in a kind of a full-time strength conditioning in college, and what are your goals for that?
So we actually had a really good weightlifting program at Jones County. We had Jay Floyd, who's a football coach. He's down south somewhere, but like that was his thing, was like weightlifting. So he introduced me to like power clean, deadlift, bench, all of that stuff when I was in ninth grade. And then from there, just like training with him and my teammates, like I just progressively just started to get stronger. And so my first year of deadlifting, I deadlifted 365, and that was literally like my first max ever. And then I want to say it was my senior year I did 425. So the journey with weightlifting, it was really amazing. I actually competed in one weightlifting competition. I didn't win, but it was kind of just fun to try something new. But now in the weight room here, I'm just working on getting stronger. It's not really about chasing numbers. It's kind of like, how does your body feel today? Like, what can you do? And I try to really push myself because I know the stronger I am, the better I can perform on the field. So the weightlifting journey has truly been amazing.
Yeah, definitely. I know playing football myself, especially movements like the deadlift and those power movements,
Hmm.
that plays a huge, yeah, it's big for anything you're doing with athletically.
For sure.
So that's amazing. Uh, so you have four sisters. What was it like growing up with four sisters, and what kind of competitive environment was in the Howard household?
It was wild, but it was so much fun. Me and my sister Brene, the one who actually just graduated from Claflin University, she played softball up there. We were the two competitors against each other. So it was really fun, like growing up with another athlete. And then with the rest of my sisters, they kind of weren't really into sports. Had another sister who did dance and she was really good. But we all kind of just found like a way to compete in little stuff, even if they weren't really athletes. But like growing up with them, I think has driven my competitiveness to like a different level. And especially growing up with a sister who played the same sport as me, because it was fun to see like who can hit this ball farther, like, stuff like that. But it was amazing.
Yeah, definitely. I know the same thing with my brother and co-founder of Only Sports. It was constant. I can't imagine having three more of them. But he
Yeah.
is. Uh, so if you had to kind of, who's your idol, and kind of what inspiration have they been in your life?
I would say my dad. He is a hard worker and he's the best man I have ever met in my entire life. I don't really look up to a whole bunch of athletes. There's a couple pitchers I look up to, like Donnie from South Carolina and like Megan Faremo. Those are like specific like pitchers I look up to. But my dad has been like he's been my rock in this sport, taking me to and from games, from practices, buying me the best equipment I could use, even if I only used it once and he spent $300 on it. But he truly has done, him and my mom have done everything for me in the sport, and I just really look up to him.
Yeah, that's awesome. Something you mentioned earlier was that, softball's only part of your life. What are some other goals that you have, whether it's in college or after college or just in general, of kind of the person you want to become?
So I actually want to be a real estate agent when I graduate from college. I'm looking into getting my license before I'm able to graduate. And I also want to be able to take my college career and to expand it to something else when I'm not playing. And so I'm looking into like creating a little like pitching facility like later down in the road. I'm currently giving lessons now, so actually really fun. So I want to be able to just expand that, but to be able to do those two things knowing that like I have no more time left in the game and just like helping the next generation is the biggest thing that I just want to be able to do. And so it's taking this small piece of my life and turning it into something bigger.
Yeah, definitely. So I know you with your sister and I played softball and your dad as well. I'm sure there were big influences in helping you through recruiting. But what would be something that a tip or any advice you would have to any up and coming softball players that are trying to play college softball?
Post on Twitter at the coaches and email the coaches. My biggest thing for recruitment was getting on Twitter. After every single tournament, I would have to go from our Facebook Live games and clip videos. I would make them, post them on Twitter, and then I would also personally send them to each coach. Some people have different opinions about tagging them in posts. I personally didn't. I would just directly send it to them. So it's kind of just whatever you want to do. But it's definitely about just reaching out to them. You can't expect a response. I don't think I got many responses, but I never took it to heart because I know like college coaches are busy. Like even looking at my coaches, I don't see how they're able to sit down and recruit, but they find the time for it. So just reaching out to the coaches, not stopping reaching out to the coaches just because you feel like, oh, maybe they're not looking at my email or whatever, but and it's doing it multiple times a week. It can't just be one time a week and you don't pick up to email them again for another 2 months. So just emailing them as much as you can after every single tournament, sending them your schedule for tournaments. That was a huge thing as well because it's really cool to see a college coach outside your dugout, especially knowing that you reached out to them. So just always reaching out to the coaches.
Yeah, definitely. That'll be great for your real estate future as well.
Yes.
You already know how to sell yourself and get in
Yeah.
front of people, so that's great. Um, so what are your goals for the rest of your career in at Georgia, athletically as well as academically?
Athletically, I just want to be able to be the best athlete that I can possibly be. For me, it's not even now it's not about the outcome. It's like how am I doing in the process? I've learned that you cannot control the outcome of things. The only thing you can do is just to work hard. And so I want my hard work to be able to be shown and whatever outcome I get, that's the outcome that I get. But I really just want to be able just to work my tail off, and to just not give up and just be the best athlete I can be. Academically, I really want to get to as close as a 4.0 as I can. I know, sometimes GPA doesn't really matter to people, but for me personally, it's just something that like I really, really strive for because I know how important it is in the classroom. So just those two things are the biggest things I want to get out from
Uh,
UGA.
Yeah, that's awesome. What's your major? Do you have one
I'm a
yet?
business major.
Business major, very smart.
Yeah, it's pretty tough here, but I got it.
Yeah, that's awesome. Um, so this weekend coming up, you've got the Athens Regional. Georgia's
Mhm.
coming in as the number 14th ranked team. Um, kind of want to walk us through what the Athens Regional is for anyone that doesn't know, and kind of what's at stake for that.
So we'll play. There's three teams, including us. So double elimination tournament. So we play at I want to say 4 or 4:30 on Friday. If we win that game, we advance to the second game on Saturday, and then if we win that game, we advance to the championship. The goal is to go undefeated. And if we can go undefeated into the championship game, the team who we play has to beat us twice. And if we win, then that's our ticket to super regionals. And so we're just focused on taking it game by game. Like we can't even think about super regionals because that right there isn't important. But just it's about to be a dogfight just to get to World Series.
Yep, definitely. So then, kind of walk us for anybody non-softball, someone that doesn't follow softball all the time. What does the rest of the season look like for anyone that wants to follow Georgia softball down the stretch?
So after regionals, we'll head into super regionals, and it's the same thing. And then once you are in super regionals, you will go to Oklahoma City to compete for the Women's College World Series. And then there, I'm pretty sure I think it may be June 3rd through the 9th or 1st through the 9th, something along there. It's pretty long, but the goal is to get to that game at OKC where you win it all.
Beautiful. Is there anyone you want to shout out or anything else you want to add to the podcast?
Um, I think I'm just really blessed to be in the position that I am and the journey that I'm on. I know seeing a lot of stuff here lately of girls being in the transfer portal, and I can only imagine like how those girls feel. So I'm very fortunate and very blessed to just be in the situation that I am. I love UGA, love Athens, love the coaches. We have a good time, and I feel like you may not find that a lot in college softball. So it's just always go dogs, and I absolutely love it here.
That's outstanding. Yeah, enjoy the ride. It's short lived, and
Thank you.
it'll be over before you know it. But good luck this weekend at the Athens Regional, and we'll all be watching. Thanks,
Thank
Tess.
you.
Yeah.